Hello students, this is a video for the word differentiate. Differentiate. So notice that this part of the word, the TI, is pronounced like an SH actually. It's pronounced like she, like the word she, like he and she. It's like that. So differentiate. And then also the stress is on the ren. Differentiate. Differentiate. And here are the three Spanish translations for that. Diferenciar, distinguir, o discernir. Okay, and so differentiate can either be something that people do, which is definition 2, or it can be describing a thing. In both cases, it has to do with a difference. So, and we'll talk about that a little more when I get into the definitions in a second. I'll show you examples with each definition. Here are some uh, here are some word families. Differentiation is a noun. Differentiated is an adjective. Synonyms: distinguish, tell the difference, separate, and discern. Antonyms, we could say misinterpret, mistake, or misunderstand, because if you don't understand, you don't understand the difference. And let's get into some more detail for the two definitions. So, oops, I did not want to do that, sorry. Here is the first definition. So it says to be the particular thing that shows that things or people are not the same. So here for definition 1, this is not something that a person does. This is like, what is the difference, that there's some key, clave, like important difference that shows that when we look at that difference, we can see that two things are different, that they're not the same. So it's like, what is the thing that makes something different from something else? So the thing that makes it different from something else is the thing that differentiates it. So here's an example. We have two kinds of animals that are very similar: tortoises, which live in the desert, and aquatic turtles, which live in the water. And I did not know this until I just looked it up today, but one of the ways you can tell the difference between tortoises that live on the desert and aquatic turtles is their feet. And here's a picture of their feet, and you can see that their feet are different. The aquatic turtles have like skin in between each finger, and they use it to swim. You can think about that. That makes sense. Tortoises don't have that. That would get in your way if you're trying to walk in the desert, if you had stuff in between your toes like that, right? So it makes more sense for them not to have that. So that is a difference between these two kinds of animals, tortoises and aquatic turtles. So if you're, let's say you find a turtle somewhere and you want to say, I want to know, is this turtle a tortoise or is it an aquatic turtle? So you can look at their feet. So the differences in their feet can differentiate between the turtles and the tortoises, which means esa diferencia en los pies es lo que nos dice que son diferentes, que nos muestra que son diferentes. That's definition 1. Okay. Then definition 2 is kind of related, but it's something people can do. Definition 2 is when people can, so you look at the synonym, tell the difference. See that things are different from each other. So es algo que si una persona puede ver la diferencia entre dos cosas, dos tipos de cosas, right? To recognize or show that two things are not the same, that's something a person does. So an example is parts of speech. English students in our classes, in English classes, learn to differentiate between nouns, verbs, adjectives, adverbs, and the other parts of speech. And here we have all the parts of speech. Okay, so we teach you to differentiate between them to know what the difference is. And if we go back here, here is another sentence related to English class. And this is what you would copy on your card if you're making a card. Maybe next year, if we're back on campus, you'll be making cards with this. So here's a sentence that says, good readers will differentiate. And then I put in here between in parentheses. So we often use the word between with differentiate. It's not required. You could take it out. You could just say differentiate the different types of characters. But I feel like it's really common to have that word between. So I put it there in parentheses to show that you can add that word. It doesn't actually change the meaning. Eso no cambia el significado, de verdad, con between o sin between. Las dos maneras son correctas. I feel like with between is more common, but you can also take it out. So good readers will differentiate or differentiate between the different types of characters in a novel or play. So what are some types of characters? For example, main character, minor characters. The protagonist is another name for the main character. And then the antagonist is the enemy of the main character. Those are some words for different types of characters, which we learn about in our English class. And so if you're a good reader who's maybe taken an English class, then you can see that difference between those and you can differentiate them or differentiate between them, that means you can know, you can understand what the difference is between them. All right, thank you very much. That's our video for today.